Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and this is my review of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This movie is a weird one. It's one of those movies that was a flop when it came out, and then there was like this 5 to 10 year period where everyone had to pretend to hate it, and now everybody likes it. And it's weird because I saw it, I don't know, a year, probably when it was DVD release, or maybe probably a year or so after it came out. And like everyone else, I hated it sight unseen. Just the concept. I was like, this is stupid. The funny thing is that I even knew about and I had read the first miniseries of the Alan Moore comic book, which this movie actually went into development before the comic book was released. It was sold just on the name and the concept alone. That's why one of the things, especially at the time, by 2003, I believe, at least 2 of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen miniseries has come out. So everyone's like, this shouldn't be a popcorn movie. This should be an HBO 12-part maxi series. It's like, yeah, if they would have made it that HBO show that everyone was caterwauling about, it would have been just like the Watchmen, HBO show. So, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen now has had, I'm not sure when everything changed, and now everyone's like, yeah, I love that movie. I've seen it a million times. Maybe everyone was always pretending to not like it because they thought they had to. And I love this movie. I love pretty much almost every second of it. So League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is about a bunch of characters that if you grew up in the 1920s to the 1980s, you probably read their stuff, or it was an assignment in school. I'm not sure if it has any real... Do people grow up reading Mark Twain and Huckleberry Finn? Huckleberry Finn is not... I know some people who... What, Huckleberry Finn's in this? Whoa! I know it sounds like I grew up in the 1800s, but when I was growing up, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn were still kind of a big deal. I always saw them as like the 1800s version of like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. But I don't know why I linked them in my head. But it was literary characters from 1800s, early 1900s that were in the public domain, so you made a basically Justice League out of them. That being said, oh my gosh, do I love this movie. The funny thing is I haven't seen it in a while, and I kind of forgot how many times I've seen it, because I'm telling you, it wasn't just every line of dialogue. I literally was like, oh, there's going to be a foam, fake piece of masonry that's going to fall down and it's going to bounce, revealing that, oh, there it went. Yeah, like every time before something happened, I didn't just know the dialogue. I just didn't remember the shot. Like, I remembered everything. I'm guessing I've probably seen this dozens of times. So what can I say about this movie besides that it's freaking amazing? I know the screenwriter, James Robinson, has basically disavowed it. He said he's so embarrassed of it. It is fantastic. It is what it was supposed to be, a popcorn version of Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I love every casting choice, every line of dialogue, the way they spoke it, the way they was shot. In fact, I guess the only things to really say, so Sean Connery plays not Morpheus. Supposedly, famously, he chose this movie because he turned down the role of Morpheus. So he's like, I don't really understand these sci-fi things, but I'm going to take the next one that's offered to me. And I believe it was his last role, or maybe second to last, but I'm pretty sure it was his last. And then there's been other, interviews where he says he's all, embarrassed. He is great. He's so good. I only have one tiny little qualm. Bad wig. I don't know why. I know now people just shave their head. But back in the day, actors had to wear, wigs and toupees, and the quality would just vary so wildly from movie to movie. It was very shocking. Obviously his wigs in The Rock, they were freaking amazing. And then this one literally looks like some sort of I don't know, like a deboned tribble, laid flat on his head. In some of the front shots, it looks kind of okay-ish, but from the side, and especially from the back, it's a freaking disaster. So he plays Alan Quatermain, who is nothing like the Alan Quatermain of the comics, as is nobody is really like their comics version. He's, an old hero who's lost everyone in his life. God, these lines. I can just do like whole parts of this. He's like, I've buried 2 wives and many lovers, and I'm he says something like he's in no hurry to replace either. And it's like, great. Everything looks cool. It's not just like cool story, cool characters, cool dialogue, but even everyone's outfit. Mark Twain, who I remember at the time, everyone was like, or Mark Twain, Tom Sawyer. I think I've said that more than once. Tom Sawyer. I remember at the time, like the geek, the proto-geek online media, they were incensed. They're like, Tom Sawyer? Why is Tom Sawyer in this book that's made of literary characters from the 1800s and 1900s? Like, why wouldn't he be in? In this one, he's a Secret Service special agent, and he's cool. He's basically an, Midwestern gunfighter. There's a cool bit where he's trying to be like a cool guy. He's young. He's still learning. So he's hitting on Mina Harker, and she goes, you're cute and young. And then she basically says that she doesn't hold either one of those things in high regard. He doesn't really have an arc. In fact, he does kind of feel like he was tapped in at the, I guess technically he's the leader of the group at the end, which is weird because Nemo is in there. Again, completely different. Nemo is an interesting one. I think for a lot of, the world, you're supposed to recognize the actor and go, oh my gosh, they got that guy. So you can kind of tell that when they when they introduce him and they kind of hold on him for a while. You're like, okay, it's just him just standing there. Because in many parts of the world, there's all these, raucous cheering and ovations and stuff like that. He's Nemo. And he's good. He's got some good lines. I still, to this day, always laugh. There's a fight at the end where you have Hyde gets knocked across the room by this, like Hulk Hyde that's like 5 times bigger than him. And then Nemo comes up and he gets knocked across the room, and you're like, he's got to be dead. He immediately jumps up like nothing, and you're just like, oh, that doesn't work. So is Nemo that interesting? He's okay. What is really interesting is the Nautilus. And now the production design for this movie is off the chain. But I gotta say, the Nautilus and the Nautiloid, which are these little trouble bubbles that pop out the side, and not only the exterior, the design, the interior, probably one of the coolest movie vehicle set designs ever. Everything looks amazing, even though often it makes no sense. This gigantic aircraft carrier-sized blade-shaped submarine can somehow go through the canals of Venice, Italy. Whatever, it's fine. So much work. God, everyone. What's his name? Stuart Townsend as Dorian Gray. I don't know Mina Harker, but she was good. They got a lot of great mileage out of Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I loved. They got Moriarty. They got what's his name? The guy from Mission Impossible 2. Like, everything is good. The only things I can say kind of don't work is there's a really cool gunfight in I believe it's Moriarty's study, like a library, and but then later the one in Venice, like, it's kind of stupid. Like, it's trash. Like, it's shot kind of cool, but like the whole point doesn't make any sense. They're using this automobile car as a beacon, but then they also use a flare. But also they're just basically targeting. All these buildings are falling like dominoes, so they need to skip ahead and knock out. Well, they say one, but honestly it should be a couple. So you stop that, but you didn't need anyone to do that. You could have just put out a barrage and knocked down a couple buildings and stopped it. For some reason, I don't know, just like wait 0.01 seconds and then go behind me. People are, I'm like a pretty chill town, but something about the coronavirus is making people drive kind of nutty. But anyway, there's a car There's a car in this. It's set in like 1899. There's a car, a really long, stretched out like Batmobile car. Everything looks cool, but then there's even like there's nice character moments, like the moments between Quatermain and Tom Sawyer. There's a scene where he's teaching Tom how to shoot a long rifle at great distances, and it's wonderful. Like I feel, I mean, it's done really well, since then. Like I said, now in 2020, everyone says they like it. In 2003, 2003 to 2010, you just had to do this like stupid song and dance about pretending it was just like the worst thing ever. Who am I forgetting? I mean, yeah, Dr. Jekyll. Oh, ow. Sometimes I finish a video and I upload it. I go, really, dude? You forgot to talk about that. So they have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde is a costume. It's an actual costume with, fake skin and, little freckles on it and veins and stuff like that. It is one of the favorite things in all movies. I am... It's a weird thing to say for a middle-aged man. I am utterly delighted every second you have this, 6-foot tall actor on little mini stilts in a giant foam muscle suit, and it looks actually pretty darn good. It's, obviously he has a limited range of movement, but he's basically like a muscle-bound, like human, Hulk. So it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't have like a, full range of movement. So a lot of times he's in the suit, his arms are either hanging down or he'll just do like one really easy like bat of his arm. It's you got to see it. You got to see it to know how amazing it is. It is. Oh my gosh, I'm getting excited just thinking about it. It is the coolest thing you've ever seen. Even though it is silly, and yeah, you can kind of see that, oh geez, he's really just locked in that thing, isn't he? But it's absolutely awesome. I'm trying to think if I left anyone out. Yeah, so Mina Harker is, she's like a vampire. She has some really like fun, flirty, exchanges with people. But when she actually goes like full vamp, it's like straight out of one of the Mummies movies. It's just, or Van Helsing, with Wolverine. It just doesn't work. You're just like, can you just go back to being a woman who just says like kind of funny, catty things to guys that are hitting on her? Like, please. I didn't really need you to be like a full vampire, like transforming into a group of bats and yeah, just go back. Geez, yeah, there's some really cool, like, I don't know if it's exactly steampunk, but even just like, they have these little tank designs. There's a real nice scene where it's just a futuristic tank, which is really like a World War I tank in 1899, just going into a bank and stealing some blueprints. And then there's a scene in Africa where some of Moriarty's men in armor come up to take out Quatermain, and it's just cool. I would say I love 95% of this movie. The main thing, like I said, I have a problem with is there's some like really good sets, and then there's like some stuff, it feels like it's like second unit, like third effects house, like when they go to what do you call it, the North Pole or something like that, like they get out and it's fairly, they go into like this really fake, they go into this cave that looks like a cave for a Saturday Night Live sketch. Like, I was like, oh, everything looks so much better in every other scene, but just a couple of scenes that just don't quite gel. But the film as a whole absolutely does. It sets itself up for a sequel, but I'm totally fine with just being this one. And I really think nobody has any reason to be embarrassed for liking this movie, including the people in it. James Robinson, take a bow. But anyway, so thanks for watching. I finished one other movie, Demolition Man. I finally finished Demolition Man, so I'm gonna review that sometime this week. Thanks for watching. Bye.